Okay, cool. I think we're live. Yay.
Okay.
Yes, we're live. All right, welcome. We can just wait a couple minutes for people to pop on, but I'm like now like hold on, let me turn my fan on. I was outside on my deck, which I like doing my lives, but there's this construction out there that's so loud, so I had to like run down to my office really quick.
Love that.
Oh my god, it's like so annoying. Okay. All right, let's get started.
Okay.
So welcome everyone. I'm so excited for this. So I am here with Colleen, and we're just going to be talking about her journey today. And I'm super excited to share this with you because she's just so powerful and made so many changes so quickly. Like, I'm going to get like emotional. So yeah, I just really wanted to share this with everyone just to activate you and just to be a model of what's really possible. So, Colleen, do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes, thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. And I've watched all these other lives of you, of the testimonials and you sharing other people's journeys. And I'm like so excited that I get to share my journey because it's been just crazy powerful. So I'm Colleen Suchecki. My business is believegrowshine.com, and I'm an intuitive healer and speaker. And my specialty is helping women work through trauma um, that is triggered by the relationship between the parent and the child. So the mother and the child, whether it's a daughter or a son, my specialty is really helping you be able to move through your own trauma through this relationship or whatever comes up from the relationship or whatever your child's going through so that you can deepen your relationship with your child no matter how old they are and have a really authentic, loving, compassionate relationship.
So powerful because, like, I mean, I always say this, but I feel like it's so hard as parents, but like our kids really reflect back to us everything that we need to know, right? And it's kind of so like freakishly right that like sometimes you don't want to look at it because you're just like, oh shit, I'd rather just like blame my kid than than like look at this thing that my kid is reflecting back to me, you know? Like it's just
Yes.
but it's all the information is right there. So that's like such powerful work. And it's so awesome. I just have to say before we get into anything, like, and I've told you this, but you as a mom in general are just so like inspiring to me that I've always been like, I hope when my kids are her kids age that we have that kind of a relationship, just because like that age, you know, like that middle school age or like that, you know, 13, 14, that age is such a hard age. And I struggled so much at that time. And I never wanted to tell my mom anything at that time. So like just the fact, like seeing how your kids like talk to you and everything, like it was just like, oh my God, I pray that my kids have that same kind of a relationship because it's just so beautiful. So anyway, maybe we can start like, do you want to talk a little bit about like where you were at when we first started working together and kind of like what prompted you to start working with me and yeah, and like where you were at in the beginning and if you had any like trepidation about like taking that leap. Yeah, just talking a little bit about that.
Yes. So thank you. First of all, thank you so much for what you shared. My kids are 14 and 11, and I didn't always have the relationship I have with them now. So when I think it was June, it was like mid to late June when I signed up to work with you. But before that, so this past year has been probably the most difficult year I've ever experienced personally in my own life. I started getting just really intense, powerful panic attacks the end of last August. And I had not been a stranger to panic attacks. I've gotten them before, but this was a whole new level. Like I was having panic attacks where I was like, I couldn't leave the house. I was physically feeling so much trauma that my body was trying to process that there were days I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't take my kids to school. So I had gone through right when I signed up with you, I had gone through really in a very, very intense 10 months of like going in the underworld. I'm just saying, like, I'm like deep in the underworld, like going to the depths I've never gone to before of experiencing my own emotions that had been repressed from childhood trauma, and really kind of looking at all the things in my life. So I took a step back from my business. So I completely stopped working with anyone because I literally, it was like the universe was like, if you don't do this, like you have no choice, really. Really, you have no choice. I mean, I did, but I didn't. It was that like abrupt. So I took 10 months and I really did a very deep dive within letting trauma move through me, allowing emotions to come through me and all of this. And so I'm kind of coming out in June, and I'm starting to like build some strength and like resilience. And I had been watching your stuff for probably a good few months, maybe even since the beginning of the year. So maybe it was like 6 months I had been maybe in your group watching your stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, because again, I would see these kind of videos and like, oh my God, the changes are happening so fast and all of this stuff. And I would be like, wow, that's great for them, but it probably wouldn't happen for me, So I had like kind of that story going in my mind. And I had also signed up to work with someone in the beginning of the year that was in my own responsibility. I was thinking I was getting something different than what I was actually getting. So I didn't do enough of my own due diligence. This person was not trauma informed. And I thought they were. So long story short, I ended up spending a lot of money, investing a lot of money into something I thought I was getting, and it was not at all what I thought I was getting. So I also had that of like, oh my gosh, I had this experience, and what if this happens again? And also I had like all these stories going on in my mind. And I reached out to you a few times about doing a few different things, but I never really jumped on it because I just let my fears get in the way. And then finally it was like, no, this is the time. I'm doing this. And we signed up, I think it was near the end of June. And so I was in the I had the metamorphosis course, and then some one-on-one sessions with you. And I'm blown away so I would say probably one of the biggest things that shifted for me. So coming out of, having like a 10-month hibernation period where literally I had like hibernated in a little cocoon from the world. And I was coming out and I was saying, okay, now what do I want to offer? Like, because I knew that before I recognized that the way I was doing business before was not really aligned. I was doing a lot of pushing, a lot of hustling. I was saying yes to things I didn't really want to do, like kind of like all that. And I'm like, I'm not doing things the same way I used to. I'm going to really learn and listen. And so the breath work, just kind of like coming into it, like going, I don't really know what I want to offer in the world. I really don't know, where I fit in, and in a way that's really authentic to me and who I am now. And I started doing the breath work, and it was just like stuff just started going like this. And one of the things that it helped me realize was in that 10 months of hibernation, my relationship with my children, my daughter, like I always had a really good relationship with my son. My daughter is very strong-willed, very confident, very opinionated, and we would just butt heads, just constantly butt heads. And in that 10 months, all of the work I had done on myself had completely changed and transformed the relationship I had with her. And we grew very, very close. And the dynamic completely switched. And so through the breath work, I was like, oh my God, I'm meant to help moms in their relationship with their kids and really help transform that. And then the parent-child karma cleanse was birthed. And I had realized that I had already done that in the past. I just didn't realize that I had been helping people in that way.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I feel like that happens to a lot of people is a lot of times you end up, because what you end up doing essentially is like once you clear all this trauma, especially through the breath work, you kind of come back home to yourself and you like re-realize things that you already knew but that you couldn't quite like embody before because there was too much other stuff blocking you and too much like gunk, in the way for you to really embody this thing that you knew you were meant to do. So like that's what it felt like to me too, that it was like as you started clearing more and more, it was like, oh duh, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I feel like that happens for a lot of people. So that's really, really amazing. And I think the breath work just works so quickly in moving energy, that especially once like we can start pinpointing like, okay, this is exactly what it is, and really like acknowledge it and say like, let's go into it, let's feel it. And then you use the breath work, things just shift so quickly. And it sounds like that's what your experience was with the breath work too.
Yes. And one thing I also want to say, and I shared this with you, is that it was so empowering the way that the course was set up, because I didn't have to wait until my next session with you to move through something. So, because I like to, like if something's coming up now, like I want to move through it and I want to, I want to feel it and process it. I don't want to wait until like next Wednesday when we have a session together. So
Yeah.
I would just say, we would chat or whatever, and then you would either I just knew which breath work to do, or you would say, oh, go do this breath work, and I would do it, and it would be like I would be moving through it, and then also allowed me to continue to take action and not be like, oh, I have to wait until all of these things are healed and all of this stuff before I can take action in my business.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have this like whole toolkit of things to do that you can just choose from at any time. And it really like puts you in the driver's seat. And this is, I mean, mainly I only attract women who really do like to lead themselves anyway. But, it really gives you that ability to really lead yourself and be in the driver's seat. And then you have like this whole entire toolkit. The other thing I wanted to ask you about too is I know you said your intuition really like skyrocket during all of this. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh my gosh. So before I started doing this, the course with you and the breath work, I would pull cards regularly, right? Like I have like 5 decks, right? Like probably most of us have at least 5 decks, but of oracle cards or angel cards or, whatever.
Yeah,
But
totally.
so I was like used to like regularly pulling those and almost like giving my power away a bit to those,
Yeah.
outside of me. Well, when I started doing the breath work, I was just getting information. Like information was just coming. I was getting downloads. It was just, no, go here, do this, reach out to this person. And it was like, I have rarely used my cards.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, I was just so connected. It went to a whole new level. Like I've always been connected to my intuition to some degree, but this went to like the whole new level of being connected and being guided and feeling like, um, that I'm so supported, and I have so much support in like the physical and the non-physical. It
Mm-hmm.
was just really, I just had never, I don't know if I've ever like felt regularly that level of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because and I know for me too, when I do breath work, I just get so many, like so much information, so many downloads, so many creative ideas. Like sometimes I'll like have to like get up and write something down or have something next to me because I just get so many ideas that I know I'm going to forget them, like, as I go through the session. So it's just such a powerful tool in that way. So were there any like things that you felt like were like roadblocks that you got over or things that were really difficult for you as part of the process, and like just feeling like really excited about getting through that or over that, if that makes sense?
Oh yeah. So interestingly enough, my daughter has had a lot of drama with her friend group, and that was also really a huge catalyst for me and my own and bringing up stuff for me to work through. And also realizing that, you know, just from my own experiences as a child of feeling so out of control, like my defense and my coping was to try to control everything, to try to micromanage everything, to try to be the one to go and fix. I need to go fix everything for everyone. And, you know, like I need to solve everyone's problems in one day. And so there's just a sense of like exhaustion and depletion. And I just used the breath work to really like let go of that need. It was like a visceral need. It was like, if I don't control this or fix this or micromanage this, like someone's going to die. It was like that strong.
Yeah.
And I can say in so many different ways, I've been able to like let go and surrender. And the like the synchronicities and the serendipitous moments are blowing my mind. It's like the more I let go, the better life gets, which I would have never like actually believed that.
No, I know and I think this is such a common thing that I really want to touch on is like a lot of times because of the trauma that happened to us as kids and like even as like babies or even just like being in this energy of the trauma, we figure out what we need to do to survive, right? Like, for instance, like you felt like if you didn't control the situation to make sure nothing bad happened, then there's a chance you wouldn't survive, right? And as kids, like I know for me, my big thing was I had to make sure my mom was emotionally stable in order to survive. So now that's what I do with that's what I was doing in my relationship with my husband, right? Because I thought that's what a relationship was. And I literally would feel in my body that if I didn't make sure that he was emotionally stable and I didn't try to hold him emotionally, that I wouldn't survive. And this is a lot of what we're working through, because this is also ancestral, right? And this is what a lot of people are working through right now is these things that we actually associate with survival that actually it feels scary to let it go when you're first doing it, because you literally feel like you might die. Like you were saying, like if I don't do this right now, like something really bad is going to happen. And that is actually like a physiological feeling that we take on as young children because of the circumstances we're in. And it looks a little different for everyone, right? But like for you, it was coming out more with like your kids' situations and feeling like you had to like save them or prevent something bad from happening to them and all of those things. When really what you were doing is you were just acting on this trauma response from childhood, and then also probably intervening in their lives that they most likely didn't want you to intervene in, right? So,
oh yeah,
yeah. So, yeah. And like the other thing too is it's like what we end up doing is actually never in service to the other person. We think it's going to be in service to the other person, but really it's actually preventing the other person from living their own life from a state of feeling like they're in their power, right? It's literally like telling the other person that we don't trust that they can be okay on their own. So it's such a powerful thing to shift. And that's when the magic happens. That's why you're having all of these synchronistic events happen where you're like experiencing miracles all the time, because like you've literally let go of feeling like if you don't do this thing or be in this pattern, then you won't survive, because that keeps us in a certain energetic frequency. It keeps us in this like survival mode, essentially, where we're out of the flow of the natural miraculousness of the universe. So when you really release that, and you really did, I mean, you know, sometimes it takes people a long time, but I also felt like when you came to me, you were literally like, I am ready, like, let's do this. And you really put like everything into it, and you are 100% dedicated. And like when you do that and you are like, do the work, do the breath work, do like listen to what comes through for me and apply it, things shift so quickly. I mean, literally in 6 weeks, you like transmuted like a lifetime of trauma.
Totally. And I'm still using the breath work. I still regularly do the breath work 3 to 4 times a week. And it is like, and I just want to touch on one of the most impactful things that you shared with me when my daughter was going through a bunch of stuff was that my role is not the lead actress. My role is the supporting actress. And that was so impactful, and it was just like you said it in the perfect way that I really got it. And so now she's come out the other side of this knowing she's going to be okay, because she has a very strong support system at home for when she needs it. But I didn't have to go fix everything. And so she's come through, stronger than ever, knowing more of who she is and what she wants in friends, and more confident in trusting in herself that she can handle when life gets really rocky, which, like what you said, I had none of that. I told my mom nothing. And I just can't even, it just blows my mind of the level of support that I'm able to offer her now, and how that's going to change the course of her life.
Yeah. And what that really is it's a healing of ancestral trauma. Like, you are not passing that pattern onto her, and she's not going to be carrying that anymore. And so you literally shifted it for all of the generations to come. And that's why this work is so powerful, because it's literally like, it's not just about you. It's not just about me. It's not just about your daughter. It's about everybody who's coming after her. Like, you stopped it, and it's like, it's so, it's profound, because this has been going on for generations upon generations of this trauma, and you literally stopped it. And now she is free to go be the greatest version of herself. And it's just and when I see people do this, because I see people do it all the time, every day almost. And I'm this is really, really, really profound. And it's still it brings tears to my eyes, because it's so important. Because the other thing too is so many of us, almost everybody that I work with, I can see in their Akashic records that they have soul contracts to clear this ancestral patterning in this lifetime. So you came here to do this, and and it really shifted. And it was really close to my heart too, because I've mentioned, and a lot of people have heard me mention, I was a school counselor for over 10 years, and I worked with middle school kids, and there's something so special about that age and the way that it impacts the rest of our lives. So for you to really be able to shift that for her at this time in her life is huge. And it's really just going to have such a ripple effect. So this work has such a ripple effect. Yes, it's about you stepping into your power and sharing your work and clearing your trauma, but it's really about so much more than that.
100%. And it was incredibly healing for my inner 15, 14, whatever, that age, for me to show up as the mom that I always wanted. It was very, very healing for me in that way as well.
Oh my God, totally. Because I always say to people too, you can't give what you don't have, right? So our parents couldn't give us what we needed because they didn't get what they needed, and they didn't have it to give. But when you heal your trauma and you really move through your stuff in a big way, then you're actually able to show up for your kids. And even if you don't have kids, right, you're able to show up for yourself, for your clients, for your partner, whatever it is, in the way that not only they need, but you need as well. Because like you said, as you showed up for your daughter in that way, you actually showed up for your inner 15-year-old in that way. And you got the healing that you needed so badly at that time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's really freaking powerful stuff here.
Mind-blowingly powerful.
Yeah, it really is mind blowing. And I love too that, like, because one of the things I love about, well, all of my courses is when, for all the tools that you get, you always have them, right? Like you have lifetime access to them. So now you have all of those breathwork sessions and the meditations and the journaling and all of that, and you can still use that at any time. And I love to hear that you use them all the time.
All the time. Like the past 2 weeks, like I can't even tell you the past 2 weeks has just the level of emotion and drama and opportunities to stand in my truth and stand up for myself and to stand up for others when other people are literally like challenging me before I would have crumbled. And I have done those breathwork sessions so many times, and I honestly don't feel like I would have been able to come out the last 2 weeks as well as I have if I hadn't had that.
Yeah. Yeah, they are really helpful. And I know you have like a personalized one too, which are super helpful. Mm-hmm. And then are there any other like differences or results that you're seeing in your life that we like didn't hit on yet?
I mean, I just feel like I'm showing up in a totally different way. I'm saying yes to the things that I want to say yes to. I'm saying no to the things I want to say no to. The other day I had a client book a session and I took them out in the middle of the woods. And we did a session because based on who they were, like at soul level, I would have never done that before. Like I would have been like, no, we have to do it in this like organized little structured way. And I just feel like there's just so much freedom and liberation of like the shackles of how you're supposed to do things as a business owner or a spiritual business owner or this or that. I feel like such a level of freedom. And then this is like kind of a weird one, but my cat had been peeing like chronically on like our beds and our couch downstairs. And anyway, long story short, I found an animal communicator that helped me. And it was also at the same time my own tuition saying, your cat wants to be an outdoor cat. And I was like, oh my God, this has been like 2 years. So, but I had so much anxiety of like, what if he never comes back? And what if something bad happens and all of this? I used the breath work to let my cat out to be free. He hasn't peed since.
Oh my God. Isn't it so funny how like we get these like random, not random, but like we get this information, but we like dismiss it, or we're like, oh, whatever, like, you know, we kind of ignore it until it gets louder and louder and louder. And you're just like, finally you listen to it. And I'm just like, why didn't I listen to that before? Like that literally makes no sense.
Right. Like it had never even, and that was again, like just the level of like how connected I was with my intuition. This has been going on for like 2 years and I had hired other people. I'm like, what is going on? And then it was just like a combination of the animal person, the communicator I hired, and at the same time me, I was like, oh my God, he wants to be an outdoor cat. But I had to let go of control. That was a whole nother layer of me letting go of control and trusting. And I used the breath work to do that. And so he is so happy now. Like, and it was so beautiful too, because yesterday I was moving through this like really intense grief of relationships not being my expectation of how I would have wanted them to be. And I'm like crying and crying. And like, he just comes running up on the bed and just jumps on me and just starts like on my chest. And he's like purring. And he was just like, and that's what my cat growing up used to do. So I had a cat, Cinderella, growing up. She used to sleep on my chest every night and just like purr. And so I just felt this like, this amazing healing. And I think it was just because also he just feels now this level of freedom that now he can be who he, like the cat, he wants to go outside and chase mice. And so there's like all of these different wild experiences that are.
Yeah. And it's also like a reflection just of you having the freedom to be who you need to be and who you want to be.
Yes.
And so it's like, because I feel like things like that always show up everywhere, right? Like that was like he was reflecting back to you that he needed freedom, and then like you are stepping into this new freedom, and as you're in allowance of that and letting go of control, it's just like it's everywhere. And I see that for me too. Even like when I am moving through something in my own life, like all my clients will be moving through the same thing too. Like it's always everywhere. And that's how the universe is like so connected, and we can always see everything so clearly. So it makes so much sense. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to ask you about, and now I forget what it is. And I don't know, I can't really see questions or anything. But if you are watching, please say hi, because I would love to say hi. And if you have any questions for Colleen, but yeah, I think like this whole, I just love your story because you really did quantum leap, and you really did really accelerate like the process, you know? So yeah, so it's really amazing. And I just can't wait to see like what you do next.
Thank you. Yeah, I just feel like, oh, maybe the other thing, actually, this is important. I feel like before in the past, I used to go chase opportunities. Like I would just go try to create and like make stuff happen. And now things are just coming to me. Like things are just popping up in whatever way they pop up. But I feel like I'm just like I'm like a magnet to things and opportunities. So that has also been a huge shift.
Yeah, that's a huge shift. And I feel like that's definitely what happens for everyone. Like as they clear their trauma, it's like, oh, things just like end up falling in your lap, you know? And then the other thing I wanted to touch on too is like how you just said that you stopped kind of like following any rules of what like a business owner should do or a spiritual person should do or whatever, and just started like creating your own. And that's like such a big thing that I'm on right now. Like that's what I'm like, all the message I've been getting about like the Quantum Accelerator, this new container that I'm launching, is all about like disconnecting from all of the rules. Like there are no rules, and we get to create the rules. And I think that that's such a huge part of what this work is all about, is like realizing that like we don't have to subscribe to any system, any way of thinking, any rules or programming or anything. We get to create all of it. And I think that that's how we're going to be running our businesses. That's how we're going to be running our lives, right? Is more just like connecting to spirit, listening to that guidance that you receive, and doing it your own way. Like, obviously, it's great to have people that can support you and help you, but ultimately you need to create things from the way that you are guided. So that's like such an important piece too that I just wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what's the point of having a business if you have a bunch of rules that you hate? You know, it's like, which is what I was doing before. It was like, you know, and all of these rules just from society and the programming, conditioning, like all the things. And then you just wake up here one day, you know, I just woke up and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is not enjoyable at all. Like I've created like a prison, you know?
Exactly. And it's supposed to be fun. Like the reason why we start our own businesses is because we want freedom and we want to be ourselves. So, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of like deprogramming to really get there, because I think sometimes we still want to be in this mindset of like listening to what someone else says because that feels safer. But really that never works. And it always ends up pulling you out of alignment or sucking your energy or having to try too hard, when really, if you are just in alignment and following what you know you're meant to do, then everything just falls into place for you.
Yes. And that reminds me too of in the past when I've worked with people, I had fallen into the trap at times of wanting them to tell me the answers. You know, it's like, and what was really profound was that I never stepped into that dynamic with you. I never looked to you to tell me what what is my next step, Elise? Like it was just the dynamic was set up in a really powerful and empowering way where it was like, I felt deeply supported, but I also felt deeply independent, and that I'm, like you said, like I'm steering the ship. I have the absolute capability of being able to know what is my next step, and my answers are within.
Yeah, and you always receive the answers as soon as you start doing the breath work, doing the journaling, and really starting to move through stuff. You always receive the answers. So that's super, super important. I'm glad you shared that. Okay, so do you want to talk a little bit about like where people can find you and what you're offering right now?
Yeah. So my website is believegrowshine.com. And one of the offerings that came out of doing all of this amazing work with Elise it's called the Parent-Child Karma Cleanse. So what it is, it's part Akashic record reading. So it's for a parent who wants to deepen their relationship with their child. I use the Akashic records. The way that I was trained in the Akashic records is to look at a divine soul blueprint. So I look at the blueprint of the parent and then the child and help them understand who's the parent, who the child is, what are the similarities and differences, and what are the ways in which you actually need to change what you're doing. Because often we either end up unconsciously parenting how we were parented, or we like swing to the other spectrum because we're like, I'm not going to be like that at all. So then we swing to the other side, and it may not be at all what is authentic for the child. So the Parent-Child Karma Cleanse helps the person to understand who they are, who their child is, and also identify any kind of conditioning from the way you were parented, any past traumas, anything that's really standing in the way of you deepening your relationship with your child, so that you can show up authentically and also honor who your child is authentically, and make whatever new choices need to happen from that place.
Oh my God, I love this so much. I want to do it. Yeah, and especially I think for parents who have kids who are a little bit older, because I know the dynamics start to get a little more challenging at that time, but it's such a powerful service because, like I said, that all the information you need is like in your child, like just watching like their behavior and what they're saying to you is like, it's all right there. It just can be hard to look at on your own. So like, it's so beneficial to have somebody that can help you see like, okay, well, what is that reflecting back to you? Because it might be hard to see, but literally it's such a potent, it's such potent information. So that's amazing. And I will put, I'll put the link for that in the comments when we finish. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then the only other thing I want to talk about for a moment is the Quantum Accelerator, because I'm so excited about it. I just had 2 more women join today. And it's just turning into such a powerful group. And if you haven't heard me talk about it yet, it is my journey it's a 4-month journey to guide and hold space for everyone to really start to work in the quantum field. Like this is like really like we are learning how to work with our own energy to not only create what we're meant to create, but also with the vision of creating the new earth. So it's really about quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum creation, and really just starting to and really mastering working with your own energy to collapse time and space, collapse timelines, and really just go from A to Z really quickly. So it includes weekly energetic attunements, weekly energetic activations, Breath work, of course, I include breath work in all of my containers, and weekly sharing and support. So it's going to be really, really powerful. The energy that is already building and the women who have already joined are like super magical. So I'm super excited about it. If it is calling to you, then just reach out to me. I'll put the link in the comments as well. But the really exciting thing too is I got the hit this morning that I want to extend the early bird pricing to Monday at the end of the day, because I had more people coming to me today, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to extend it to the end of the day Monday. So it's only $2,997 until the end of the day on Monday. There's also an extended payment plan, so it's super easy. So just reach out to me about that and I can give you all the details, but you have until the end of the day Monday to get that pricing. So I'm super excited about it. It's going to be so awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, Colleen. This was amazing. I'm so excited for you. And I definitely encourage everyone to check out Colleen's offerings. It's something that I definitely want to do at some point as well. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.